All right, everybody. Sorry I haven't been putting out more videos lately. Just my computer's had some issues. I think I fixed it. We should be back to normal. So I apologize about that. We will hopefully resume back to the usual video production. But just want to catch us up real quick on the Mavericks, what I've seen so far, what I'm thinking, and hold on. Mark Cuban's calling me. This is my real ringtone, by the way. Cubes, talk to me. Yeah? Yeah. Well, I told you my computer was down. You didn't want to give me the $100 to fix it. You said something about the budget being tight. Yeah, right now. Yeah, I'm making propaganda. I'm back on it. Yeah. All right. All right. You still coming over for Thanksgiving? Yeah? All right. See you then. Okay. Toodles. Sorry about that. You know how it goes. The propaganda never stops. But I wanted to just catch us up real quick on the Mavericks. What I'm seeing, what I like, what I don't like, right? I have been watching the games. We'll do a little film room session. I'm going to make another little video, I think, after this. But what have I seen so far, right? I think, first of all, I think we're ahead of schedule, 9-5, right? 9-5, first in our division by a game. The Mavs, I had predicted at the beginning of the year, I think they should win the division. I think we should win our division. I said 55 wins would be nice, would be, I think, doable. Again, if we are making the strides that we think we can make, we seem to be on pace for that right now. We're in that ballpark, right? So that's good. So what have I seen that I like, right? I have to eat my words a little bit here. Jason Kidd has made a lot of good adjustments, right? He has gotten so much better at calling timeouts at proper times, and then he's also been very good at plays out of timeouts. I covered a few of those when I did the Spurs video. He got Green an open look in the corner for a three. There was another nice play that he ran out of a timeout. And so that was my other knock on Jason Kidd, is not only the timeouts, but he is not good at X's and O's in spots, correct? He just doesn't seem to have anything in his bag, right? He's doesn't seem like he has much of an imagination or creativity in terms of the X's and O's on the offensive side of the ball. It's just very stale and redundant pick and roll play calling, right? Now, I think Kyrie has changed a lot of that this year. I think it has allowed him to maybe get a little more creative because he has another option, another toy he can play with in a way. Defenses cannot now just hone in on Luka, so that could be part of it. But the play calling in general has gotten better as well. I've seen much more different looks and wrinkles that they've ran on offense. I'm going to show one here in a little bit. Just something quick to show you in terms of something I never saw last year, correct? That I think is a good development. So I have to do that. I have to give Jason Kidd some credit. Again, this could be something the front office addressed with him. He could just have a timeouts coach. He could just have a guy showing him how to run some better inbounds plays. Who knows, right? If the front office addressed it, Kidd acknowledged it, a little bit of both, right? But those things in terms of, I see things that are easy fixes, calling timeouts properly. Who knows? He could have a guy in his ear just saying, now's a good time to call a timeout. Why don't you call a timeout? I don't know. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But that's gotten much better. He seems to be getting a little more creative in sets and specifically out of timeouts or dead balls, right? There seems to be much more creativity and wrinkles going on there. So that's good. That's a good development. Secondly, and obviously this is the biggest one, that we should be excited about, is this is probably the best offseason in terms of the roster building, signing players, draft night, etc. This is probably the best offseason we've had. I mean, since, if things keep going the way they're going, the fact that we re-signed Kyrie, we extended Green, we got Lively and Omax in the draft, we got Grant Williams. And Jones right now is looking like maybe the signing of the year if he keeps playing the way he's doing in terms of just a value perspective, right? This might be the single best offseason, besides getting Nash and Dirk. If we take that year out, and then there was a few years before the 2011 run, but that was over 2 or 3 years. We got some guys correct. In terms of a singular season, this might be the best offseason acquisition-wise and roster-building-wise that they've had in my lifetime, right? If we take away getting Dirk and Nash, correct, this is the best offseason the Mavs have had. Specifically that we kept the other star next to Luka and Kyrie. That's important. I think that's huge for showing Luka we're serious. I think both of them are hungry. I still think Kyrie's hungry. I think he wants another ring really bad. That's just my 2 cents on it. I think he would like to win another one without LeBron. I think that would mean a lot to his legacy. And winning with a young Luka would be very big for him. I think that would be huge for both of them in terms of their legacies, right? So I think whether they've talked about it or not, I think psyche-wise they are on that page, right? There's definitely that in common. But other than that, the guys that we have got, that we went out and got or drafted free agent signing, or even someone like Green and Powell who we re-signed to what I think are good values, right? I had made a video earlier in the offseason when we got Grant. Is just the value we're getting these guys at, right? And the more important thing is this. The players that we went out and got are doing what we went out and got them to do. You know what I mean? Grant Williams has been really good on the defensive end. He's hitting open threes. That's what we got him to do. That's what he needs to do. That's what he's doing. We went out. We made a move to get Lively. We got rid of Bertans' contract. And he's doing what we need him to do. He doesn't need to drop 25 a night. We need him to get 10 and 10, be active around the rim, and make life a little easier for Luka and Kyrie on the pick and roll. He's been doing that. Still showing some rookie mistakes, but that's a growth process. I think he is up for the challenge. He is NBA ready. And a lot of those things, I can't think of 2 better guys, I think, than Luka and Kyrie, that their game and the way they play will demand that Lively learn quick. And he's going to learn quick. They're going to show him so many different things and looks and passes, angles, that I've already seen him so many times. He's gotten caught with his hands down, or he's just not ready, correct? Those things will come along, right? Those are easy things to fix, and I think Lively is up for the challenge. I just do. He looks good. He doesn't look like a rookie mentally or physically. And so, again, the Mavs hit huge on Lively. I still have high hopes for Omax. They sent him down to the G League. He dominated. They brought him right back up. So that's nice. I still think Hardy looks good. I think Hardy will work his way into some more playing time as the year goes on. His shot looks good. He looks great going to the hole. He had a monster dunk. I want to say it was against Denver or something like that. But he looks great. I'm happy with him coming along. Green has looked a little bit like a fish out of water this year. I'm not going to lie. I don't know what it is, if it's a FIBA transition or something. I don't know what it is, but Green, I thought, looked good last night against the Kings. I think he just needs to get out and play. I think Green is thinking too much. Green just needs to get out and play. We signed him to an extension. We also got Powell to an extension. He was offered much more money to go to Houston, and he stayed. I think that speaks volumes about the locker room and the environment. The fact that someone like Powell would rather stay in Dallas for less money. I think that is one of those signs that probably gets overlooked a lot, right? It's not so much that Powell's an impact player or an X factor or something like that, but from all the things we hear, he's a high IQ guy, he's a good locker room guy, and everyone on the team likes him. And the fact that he stayed for less money, I didn't quite think about it at the time, but just in terms of a locker room perspective, you're always trying as a fan to kind of get a glimpse into what the locker room is like or what the team is like off the court. I think that's very important. What are they like in practice? What are they like in the locker room, correct? I think that speaks volumes that he stayed with the Mavs, right? Maxi's been a little hurt. I still have high hopes on Maxi. I think he's going to be a crucial defender for us when he comes back, and if he can stay healthy, correct. We had signed him to an extension last year. We went out and get Lively. We went out and get Grant, and got Grant. They're doing exactly what we hoped they would do, right? And that's huge for the Mavericks. It seems like we do okay in the draft. I think we've done okay on hitting higher draft picks in the draft for the most part. But getting free agents has just never been a strong suit of the Mavericks. That's why we brought in Nico Harrison. He's paid off from day one, correct? In my opinion, I think a lot of people were hesitant in the change of the front office and the scouting and the analytics versus how Nelson did it and things of that nature. And I think Nico Harrison is the right guy for today's NBA. It's so much more about relationships, networking, PR, and I think that's right up Nico Harrison's alley, and I think that will bode well for the Mavericks. That's another one that I have to eat some crow on, that Nico Harrison, I was a little hesitant. He's been good. I was wrong about a few of we're not wrong, but Jason Kidd has improved on some of the critiques I had of him last year. So that's all good, right? And Jones might be the signing of the year if he keeps playing the way he is. He's been absolutely incredible. I thought when he started in game one, Kidd had mentioned he was going to experiment with the lineup. And I thought, well, maybe this is just he threw Jones in because he wasn't sure. He wants to see a certain look or something. But Jones is here to stay. He's a bona fide rotation player now, if not a starter on some nights, correct? So I think that's good. And that might be the signing of the year, to be honest with you, if he keeps playing like this, correct? So all that is good. We have two things that I'm worried about, and the first one is no secret if you're a Mavs fan. It's rebounding and points in the paint in terms of us preventing points in the paint. Lively has done a lot to kind of sew up that weakness. I saw a stat. I think Mavs are the first or second team from last year to this year to increase their second chance points. That has a lot to do with rebounding. And that's in large part due to Lively. But Lively won't be able to do that all by himself. And we saw when he was out against the Toronto game, Toronto just got to the basket at will. I think there was some stat, like after the first quarter, it was like 44 points in the paint to 16, right? You just can't win games like that. It's just impossible. So I am still a little hesitant going forward that, we are just weak on the interior. The Kings hit a lot of threes on us the other night. I'm not so much worried about three-point, people killing us with the three-pointer. For whatever reason, that's always been a strategy of Jason Kidd, is to run guys off the three-point line. So I think the Kings just kind of caught us in a little bit of a whirlwind there. They were falling. They were shooting them from everywhere. And, today's NBA, that's just how it goes sometimes, correct? So I'm not too worried about that. I am worried about the interior defense, right? I think from what I can tell, almost every team we've played just about has gotten to the rim at will and essentially whenever they have wanted. And that can't, that's just not a recipe for winning. Again, we've improved dramatically on that. So I think that does reflect in our record, being 9-5. Again, I think that's right where I would like us to be. 9-5 sounds about right. If I had to tell you going into the year, the Mavs would be 9-5. I'd be pretty happy with that, right? We lost a back-to-back to New Orleans. I don't care who you are, any professional sports, it's hard to beat a team, especially back-to-back. Losing to Toronto was not good, but Lively was out. They got to the rim at will. Obviously we lost to Denver. That's understandable. Losing to Milwaukee, understandable. So again, I'm still very optimistic. The Kings, that's an understandable loss. If you had to be objective about it, correct. So I think this team is just fine, right? I think we have made strides, but the defense worries me a little bit on the interior, right? That's nothing nobody, if you're a Mavs fan, that's no surprise to you. So, but I did want to give a little credit to Kidd here. I want to just, real quick. And the other weakness is, as you guys know, if you watch any of the film rooms from last year, which I will do a film room again going forward. I'll try to find a few. It is nice that we have Kyrie, right? I think because of Kyrie, that takes a lot of pressure off of Luka having to have the ball, and it allows Luka to not be the focal point of the offense. They have to, in the back of their minds now, they have to account for Kyrie Irving. He can shoot, he can drive, he can finish, right? And his shot has definitely come on a lot better the last few games compared to the start of the season. He had some kind of foot injury, I think, so he seems to be over that. He's coming on strong now. And that's nice, right? It's nice that Kyrie's taking pressure off Luka. Luka will no longer be the focal point of the defense, right? If they're both on the floor. And that pays dividends, I think, going throughout a game and throughout the year. However, the Mavericks are still going to run a lot of pick and roll with Luka. That's just what it is. That's just how good he is, correct? And I don't know what it is. Again, maybe Jason Kidd's seeing my videos, made some improvements on the things I complained about last year, but the way that the Mavericks break the pick and roll, the way the Mavericks are struggling with a double team on Luka sometimes infuriates the hell out of me. If you have a player so that is as good as Luka, right? Teams are just eventually going to double team him at times, right? It's no surprise. It should never catch you off guard. Everyone should know what their role is when they come to double Luka. Second to that is, you think about a guy like Kyrie, he's very hard to double. He's very quick, fleet of foot, good lateral movement, and he'll also get north and south on you real quick as well, and he'll go all the way to the hole and finish in the blink of an eye, right? Kyrie is very hard to double team, a player like that, correct? Especially with his handles, right? Even more so, right? He's just, it's like trying to corral air, right? It's like trying to herd cats. It's such a hard thing to do, right? However, with Luka, he is not hard physically, athletically, laterally, in terms of a defense. Getting him, getting in front of him, corralling him in a way, if you can get him away from the basket in a bad spot, he's not necessarily that hard to get to and to get him where you want to get him in terms of a defense, right? If you're able to double team him. Of course, he's got great vision, great IQ. He knows where the ball is going before you do, right? But still, we're talking about NBA defender, 6'8", 6'9", coming at you and corralling you. That's not an easy task. And my problem with this is this. There is a difference between Luka kind of just being at the logo, right, setting up the offense, and they send a double team to you, correct? Luka can see that coming from a mile away. That's easy. Luka has a lot of space to operate. And so that's one thing. That doesn't happen, though. That's not how Luka's double teamed. The way Luka gets double teamed is, again, they're going to run a lot of pick and rolls with Luka, which means another defender is coming when that pick is set. And that is when defenses tend to spring the trap on Luka, and there has to be at least 5 to 10 times every game that they decide to double Luka, and they are able to just push him into the corner in the half court, right? The worst position to be in. And I don't know why the Mavericks continue to allow Luka to get in that position, why that hasn't been addressed. But there is always a few times a game that Luka makes a bad pass or a turnover, gets stuck, has to use a timeout, or the offense, has a bad possession, right? Because they spring a double team on Luka out of the pick and roll, and it's like this hesitation. There's not like an obvious just, okay, Luka's been doubled, we should know what to do. Defenses are going to do this. And that is what I'm looking for going forward, right? The problems on defense in the interior are just going to be what they are, right? I don't know how much you can improve that. Maybe you give Omax some more playing time. You can try some bigger lineups, but obviously that's up to the judgment of Kidd. But, other than just Lively continuing to improve and being the player that he is, I'm just, I'm not sure how much we can improve that or focus on that other than just more effort. Guys just need to be paying attention to it, and rebounding needs to be at the forefront of their mind on the defensive end, right? We give up a lot of offensive rebounds. The Kings killed us with second chance points the other night. Absolutely obliterated us. And that can't happen. So I don't know how much you can address that from a coaching perspective, from a strategy perspective, other than just guys just need to be giving more effort and it needs to be more of a priority. Luka, however, breaking the double team, in my opinion, is the easiest thing in the world. Not in the world, but of the things you would ask a offensive set to do or offensive player to do, breaking a double team should be amongst the easiest. If a team is having to come and double team you, you've already won. They are essentially saying, if you can just get the ball out of your hands, you're playing 4-on-5, right? And or I'm sorry, 3-on-4, right? It's 4 to their 3. The defense, by double teaming you, is kind of already acknowledging they're at a disadvantage. You as an NBA team with NBA athletes and players should be able to break that and get something good, go to the foul line, get an open 3, or just get a layup or a dunk. In my opinion, 7 out of 10 times, 75% of the time, you should be getting something like that, right? Going to the basket or an open 3, and it should be easy, right? And when this happens, it just seems as if there is no strategy for it. There is no set we're looking for, or players don't seem to be reacting and getting to certain spots to help Luka out in that situation. And Luka also seems at times he doesn't know where to go with it, right? And it becomes this, we're hoping Luka makes a play 40 feet away from the basket instead of just making it easier on everybody and saying, look, when Luka gets doubled, here's what we're doing. And too many times when Luka gets a pick, he's way too far out. He's in the corner. He's already being hedged off to the sideline. And again, you throw 2 6'6", 6'8", 6'9" bodies at him, athletic NBA players. You know, that is not an easy thing to do even for Luka, right? I don't care how good he is. There's just 5 to 10 times a game they do that, and it's always a roll of the dice if we're even going to get something positive out of it. So that's what I want to look for going forward, correct? I think the offense overall looks good. The defense has drastically improved, I think, from just a rebounding perspective and our main weaknesses. Again, with this offense, we just hope the defense can be average, slightly above average, right? And I think the offense will take care of the rest. So I wanted to go over a play real quick, though, just to give Jason Kidd some credit here. All right, so Brandon Ingram just scored a layup. Luka's got the ball. He's bringing it up, correct? Again, I want, for anyone who's a Mavs fan or follows me or saw any of the film rooms from last year, I never saw anything like this. Never even close to anything like this. So let's just watch and see. And again, I just want to show this one clip because this is one of those things I talk about. I also want to show an out of bounds play too against Sacramento that I saw. But this is just such a great example of, Nick, what do you mean when you say a different set, a different wrinkle, a different look? You know, what's a good example? And I don't really have any to show you because we always just run a pick and roll or double pick and roll at the top, right? So Ingram just scored. Luka's bringing the ball up.
And he slashes through that lane to score.
We're going to do a little handoff here to Powell, a little three-man weave, right? That we've all done.
Better execution out of the
Powell's going to give it to Williams.
Timeout this time, remember.
And now we have Kyrie Irving at the top of the key, correct? Kyrie Irving is at the top of the key with the ball. You know, one of the best handlers, best finishers in the game, one of the better shot creators in the game. And he's going to get it. He's now got it at the top of the key, right? So in high school, there was a play we ran similar to this called Antler, because we were the deer. That was our mascot. But essentially, it's a 4 high. Everyone's going to stay up at the free throw line or higher, right? And the thing that you're looking for is, at any time, someone could cut backdoor, right? Cut to the basket. The lane should be wide open for the most part. And this is essentially, you're going to kind of just run this pick and roll, down picks, etc., until someone catches a defender sleeping. And even if I cut and it's not there, we just reset. It's not hard to do, right? And this is just, again, I didn't see anything like this last year, and I could maybe miss something, but this play is just such a great example of getting Luka off the ball. Again, the defense is now focusing on Kyrie with the ball, and they also have to focus on Luka, right? But as a defense, right, think about if you played Dallas all year last year, right? And you just see Luka, right? the more you run the same thing, an NBA defense will begin to clamp down on you. They will begin to process it faster. And the less time a defense has to spend thinking, the more time they can just rely on athletic abilities and instincts and know what's coming and react and anticipate, than having to think about what's going on. Is a back screen coming? Is my guy going to cut back door? Is he going to, when he comes off this pick, is he coming to the hole or is he flaring out? All kinds of different things, right? And if you just run the same thing over and over, a defense will, again, the margins, the return, right, on your investment of running the same play diminishes every time you run it, because the defense has seen it. They've seen it twice. They've seen it 3 times. You can only, fool me once, right? Fool me twice. An NBA defense isn't going to get fooled for the 10th time. They're going to know what's coming, and they're going to adapt, right? So you have to think about this. No one in the lane. Kyrie's got the ball at the top of the key. Luka's going to set an away pick. Even if this is nothing, right? The defense still right now is in a bit of new territory, correct? And so Luka's going to go set an away pick for Tim Hardaway, right? Tim Hardaway, one of the better shooters in the league. I kind of forgot to bring him up. I said at the beginning of the year, Tim Hardaway would be the most interesting player on our roster to watch. He's got a nice skill set. He could be involved in a trade. If he's playing well, good for us. If he's not playing well, then I think that means someone took his minutes in terms of the guys we have waiting in the wings that can play. But Tim Hardaway Jr., whether he's feeling the pressure or not, he's been playing absolutely incredible this year, right? So far, probably 6th man of the year, I would think. He's absolutely crushing it, right? So, again, that's just good for us. Like, people playing good, whether we trade him or keep him as an asset, just to see Tim Hardaway play well is just an overall positive. You can't complain, right? So he's going to go set an away screen on Tim Hardaway.
Last time they called a timeout, they turned it over.
Or is he? You know what I mean? This is what I mean, where there's just so many. In terms of running a half-court offense, the world is your oyster. And it just seemed Kidd was just going to run the pick. He's going to run the pick and roll until we die, And you're gonna live and die by the pick and roll, and the pick and roll's fine, right? But you can't run it 99% of the time. That's what he did last year, right?
Timeout this time. Remember the last time they called it time.
You see, I mean, this is just such a simple thing where the guy guarding Luka isn't thinking backdoor cut. Luka's gonna backdoor me to for an easy layup. The defender, in their mind, whether they're playing good defense, they have position, nowhere in his mind does he think Luka's going to go to set this pick and then just backdoor him, right? That's a totally different look no one has ever seen from Luka. I don't think anyone's ever seen Luka do a backdoor cut like this, right?
Better execution out of a Pelicans timeout this time. Remember the last time they called it time.
And again, this takes Kyrie, again, another playmaker, a good passer. He knows what he's looking for. We all know what we're looking for as a team, right? The lane is wide open, and Luka, the one of the least athletic players in the league. I know he's 6'8", 6'9", a good frame, but in terms of quickness, he's not burning anybody. And just simply giving the defense a different look is all it takes. It's just that little bit of daylight that you need. The defense hesitates, isn't looking for it, and it turns into an easy layup, right? I also want to pay attention to this. Luka's had way better attitude this year. Way better attitude this year. Yes, he still complains sometimes. Yes, he doesn't get back on D sometimes, and that's so annoying and frustrating. But Luka, in terms of his spirits, seems to be in a much better place this year. Luka's loving it. I see Luka smiling so much more this year. And I know it's early. Maybe we're still in the honeymoon phase of what's going on, and when things get rough or we go on a little losing streak or something, we'll see. But for right now, what I see from Luka is he seems to be in much better spirits. The vibe of this team is great right now. That's also kind of going back to the Dwight Powell thing. Nobody stays for less money unless the vibes are just so good. I don't mean to use vibes in a sort of cringy way, but the vibes are just good. And Dwight Powell must have felt that. It seems everyone's feeling it, Again, we're not going to win every game. We're 9-5, right? There's still many things to improve on, but the off season, the play calling, things just feel so much different right now in Dallas and watching this team play, correct? All right, so we got another play here, right? This is from the other night against the Kings. And again, the reason why inbounds I think are so interesting to look up, right? There's really no excuse for not running a creative inbounds play every so often, right? And getting a bucket off of it, correct? And the Mavs, again, you remember when they played Milwaukee last year, and Luka was so upset because we're about to throw the inbounds play, and he was throwing it here from the sideline here where the ref was, and Luka was so upset because he could tell the Milwaukee Bucks already knew what they were going to do. And I think that proves my point in terms of Jason Kidd and the play calling was very predictable last year and redundant. I think redundant's maybe the better word used to describe it, correct? So again, this is another inbounds play. Luka's not even on the floor. We got Hardaway, Kyrie, Green, Powell, and Exum, right? And so this is out of an inbounds, right? And I just thought, again, this is just a good example of just a better ripple or a different look on the out of bounds that, again, I never saw the Mavs get anything this close in terms of creativity.
Parents are Bulgarian, grew up in Cyprus and Greece.
So again, Kyrie's the main guy, right? Coming off the pick from Powell.
And in his first year, Bulgarian.
So if you notice, the inbounder is going to come and help.
And in his first,
right, which is a bad move. The guy coming around the pick is a little late. Therefore, the inbounds defender has to help. Sabonis is going to stay home on Powell.
Here in the NBA.
So we, again, right back to the inbounds guy. That's really not that hard of a play to run. Like, pass it in, give it right back to the inbounds guy underneath the goal. And Green is just wide open in the corner. Again, if that was necessarily a design play or not, I think it is. But this is still just creativity that I did not see at all last year, correct?
He finds Green.
And just little things like this are, in terms of the things I've criticized Kidd for, easy fixes, right? It seems they've addressed them. It seems someone got in Kidd's ear, or Kidd did some soul searching, or he's watching my videos or whatever. And things like this is what has me, obviously the acquisitions and the play is great. The thing is, like, you put the talent on the floor and the players will play, and they will, they're going to be who they are for the most part, right? I think it is up to you as a coach to, again, it's sort of like the way I like to put it, right? There are a few times in a game where a coach is able to put his fingerprints on a game, right? And set inbounds plays, running, like that last play we saw a little bit of a different wrinkle, calling timeouts at the right time. Those are things the coach can do to have an effect on the game that I thought Kidd really just didn't do a good job of last year. And this year, it seems as if he's addressed it, and it seems as if they really made an effort to work these little things that we can improve on. Again, either someone got in his ear, front office watched the tape, they got a consultant or a guru, I don't know, but this amount of difference that I've seen from last year to this year, I credit to Kidd, but if I had to put money on it, right, someone must have looked at this, or someone must have gotten Kidd's ear or the front office and been like, look, man, these things need to change or improve. And it's working. Like, again, if you're talking about as a coach, you can call a timeout at the right time a few times in a game. You have, let's say, 3 to 5 little plays you've drawn up or that you're running that gets you a bucket. I mean, that, we're talking about the NBA. The margin for error is small. These guys are so talented. The margin between one team to the next is very small. Even the worst team in the league to the best, right? It's not as, everyone thinks it's a wide gap. I mean, on any given night, someone could beat anyone, especially in today's up-tempo and high-pace offense, system that a lot of teams run. I understand, bottom of the barrel, right? But anyone could beat anyone at any given night. And sometimes a few of those plays can make the difference between losing by 5 or winning by 5, right? And so I need to give Kidd credit. The players are going to play. They're going to do what they do. the acquisitions have been incredible. I didn't mention Exum. Exum's looking great too. When he gets in, he's immediately a spark plug. Things are just clicking right now and are hitting. I know the last few games have been tough. There's still, again, the interior defense is a big question mark. But we have done so many things right, in my opinion. Yes, we would like to have, a shot blocker in the middle who can get us 20 boards and in 20 points, right? It'd be nice to have a Joel Embiid on the offensive end and a Dikembe Mutombo on the defensive end. I get it, right? Those guys aren't as they just don't come around very often, especially in today's NBA, right? We will need to address that or do something, and I don't think that's really much more you can do other than guys need to be more aware of it. And they, rebounding is 90% effort, right? And that's just where that has to start, right? But all these other things, getting these hits in the offseason, which the Mavs, I'm telling you, if you don't know, in terms of being a free agent destination and making big signings, they just have missed so much over the years, even in the Dirk era, right? It's just never been a strong suit of theirs. We hit it this year, the first full year under Nico. We got Kyrie, right? The draft hit, the free agents hit, the extensions hit. These little things on the coaching end seem to be getting sewn up. We're 9-5. Everyone thought, a lot of people thought, shout out to Dart, but a lot of people thought that the Kyrie Luka experiment was not going to work on last year's small sample size. I have faith. I think the guys around Luka and Kyrie, again, that what we needed, we went and got, and I think it will continue to pay dividends. I don't think this is a fluke. I don't think 9-4 is a fluke. In fact, I think we should be more like 10-4, maybe even 11-3. Right? There's a few. Maybe if Lively plays in the Toronto game a little bit different. We didn't play horrible against the Nuggets or the Bucks either. Let's keep that in mind. I thought. I think it was in the Nuggets game, we actually outplayed them the second, third, and fourth quarter in totality, right? We just got smoked in the first quarter, which, slow starts in the first quarter, that's another thing, another weakness we need to work on. But I am excited. I'm ecstatic. This is a good core, a good roster. All of these guys are going to be around at least if you want to keep them and sign them, right? I mean, Powell's our oldest player, maybe? I'm not even sure. Kyrie, maybe. All of these guys are here to stay, in my opinion. 90%, 80% of these players that we have on our roster right now, I don't see any reason why we can't keep them for the next 10 years, on a high end, correct? This is a good squad, a good roster, and that is not to say we're done making moves or that there's not one more move to be made. Mavs have been in a lot of trade rumors lately as well, and it'd be great to get Dorian Finney-Smith back. I think Dorian Finney-Smith would be incredible to get him back. There's been some talks about getting Alex Caruso. Even Zach LaVine's been tossed around, right? So the Mavs are not done. I'm telling you, this is such a great start to the season. If you're a Mavs fan, you should be absolutely excited. Don't listen to the haters. This team will definitely be in the playoffs. And if we aren't, timestamp me saying this right now, but we will be in the playoffs. I think we're going to win our division. In fact, I'm not even sure it's going to be close. The Rockets have really surprised me so far, although I was not as down on them as other people thought, because I thought with Brooks and Van Fleet, I thought that was a good mix with the younger guys. And look, people hate on Dylan Brooks. He is such a... You love to have him on your team, I think. It's kind of like what Bill Parcells, not Bill Parcells, but Rex Ryan used to. Rex Ryan used to say, I joke with the media, I talk to the media, I come at the media, and I defend my players from the media because that's one more thing I can do to take the pressure off everyone else. Do you know what I mean? Dylan Brooks is kind of like that on the basketball court. He will be the villain that people want him to be, and that makes it a lot easier, especially young guys. It makes it a lot easier on them to not have to be that guy. And Dylan Brooks isn't a scrub. I know a lot of people don't like him, but he's definitely not a scrub. He rubs people the wrong way, but I think the Rockets got a good little squad, a good little core right now too, and I'm definitely keeping an eye on them. I'm kind of looking at them out of my peripheral. I don't think they're going to catch us this year, right? But next year or two, they could be very good depending. But I think the Mavericks will be in the playoffs. 6th seed or better would be very nice. Not have to be in the play-in. And I think we will win the division, right? So that's my video, just getting us caught up. I want to do a film session on the Milwaukee game. Luka had a really bad game. I want to do some film room on that. I'm going to pick out his worst quarter, and I'll make a video on that. But Mavs fans should be absolutely ecstatic right now. It feels like things were rocky the last few years, and we're kind of just stuck in the mud, kind of puttering around. I know the Western Conference Finals run was nice, right? Don't get me wrong. But I think people knew that way that roster was constructed, it just wasn't going to be a sustainable thing, right? It's not as if we had some kind of core that we said, wow, we'll be back next year for sure. I think we have drastically improved the roster. That was always my biggest worry the last year or so. It's just the way the roster was constructed, the contracts we had. It just didn't look like there was much room, not much to do. This roster right now, I love this roster. Absolutely love this roster. Again, we need some help on the interior, but who doesn't, right? Who doesn't? So that's essentially my video. I think the future looks very bright for the Mavericks. I'm loving the front office, what they've done. And obviously the front office is one of the things that will stay around for a very, very long time. So it's good to have that in place. I think we have people who are willing to make moves, and so far they've hit on those moves, and that's way easier said than done. So that's my video. I'll see you guys on the next one. I'll do a film room here shortly, so I'll see you guys on the next one.